The things that you've been doing to help you move forward in your career are not the same things that you need to work on if you want to get a promotion. Let me explain. Throughout your entire career, you've been focused on working hard. Putting in the hours, putting in the time, that derives your rewards. You study at school, you get a better grade. You practice in sports, you do better in sports. And if you put in the hours at work, you get a bonus, you get advanced in your career. But getting a proper promotion into that leadership role, that takes something different. I've spent 18 years in leadership roles in human resources, change management, training. I've been in the rooms with the directors and the VPs when we've made decisions about who we want to hire, who we want to promote, who do we want to give bonuses to. And I know that the sorts of things that help somebody advance are not the sorts of things that you have been working on throughout your entire career. And it's one of the reasons why a lot of people get stuck at the level that they're at, because they think they just need to put in a bit more time and that work will be recognized and finally they'll get that promotion. And maybe they will. A lot of the times they won't though. Oftentimes, employees are seen just as being really good, solid workers, and management has every motivation to keep you where you are. Why should they promote you if they like what you're doing right now? There are 5 things that separate a good employee from somebody who is going to be promoted. The first thing is proven impact. And what I mean by this is that you're not just simply describing your success, the work that you've done and how well you've done that work, but you're also linking that effort and that work to broader aspects of the organization, the larger goals, the larger mission of the department, and so forth. You're thinking outside of your particular group, and you're linking, and this is important, you're linking your work and your effort to those larger goals. Even asking the question of how you can tie your work into these larger objectives or into things that are happening beyond the boundaries of your department can help indicate that you're thinking more broadly about the organization, not narrowly about the work that you're currently doing. This is actually a really good skill to use in an interview, is to link your work to the larger organization. Let me give you an example. When I was working in recruiting, my team was working on fairly repetitive tasks, cyclical work. Every week there were certain activities, every few weeks there were certain activities, every quarter there was activities that need to be done, even annually we had activities. As a result, a lot of the tasks ended up being very repetitive, doing the same things over and over again. But what made the difference when I was looking at my employees and considering them for promotion or bonuses was not just did they get their job done, which is important. Obviously, I'm rewarding if they do good work, but are they thinking beyond the time frame? Are they looking at how their work is attached to the next cycle or is attached to some larger organizational goal that we're striving for? That kind of curiosity, that kind of questioning and connecting the dots was what made me choose certain people for certain projects, for certain developmental opportunities, and even for promotion. The second thing that management looks for in promotions is the idea of personal agency. And by that I mean, are you showing the initiative to solve problems, to correct errors, to implement ideas? I'm not saying that you shouldn't ask your boss for permission to do things. Obviously, you want to keep your boss in the loop, but are you waiting for instruction? Are you waiting for things to be solved? Or are you taking the initiative to solve those problems? Or implement new ideas, same thing. The reason why this is important is that the higher you move in an organization, the expectation is that you're in the role to solve problems, which means you need to make the decisions, you need to show the initiative yourself. And so management, when considering employees for promotion, are looking for the same characteristics. The third thing that management looks for when considering somebody for promotion is visible ambition. Are they actually letting people know that they want to get a promotion? Because if you don't tell people that you're interested in advancing, they may just assume that you are happy where you are and they'll keep you in that role. So you have to let people know that you want to grow in your role, you want to get a promotion, you want to develop further. And this is more than just telling your boss that one time that you want a promotion. You need to bring it up regularly. You need to talk about it in your performance meetings. You need to talk about it in your one-on-ones. You need to be asking questions about how do they choose people for advancement? What are the skills that are required for advancement? What do you need to work on in order to advance your career and develop in your role? Furthermore, it can't be just your boss. You need to be talking to your boss's boss. You need to be talking to your boss's peer-level managers. And I'm going to talk about this in the next point. The reason being is that the decision to promote somebody doesn't come from just your boss. It's coming from a number of people. And you want to make sure that enough people who may be involved in the decision-making process know that you're interested in advancement. If they give you advice or suggestions on what to work on those things. This brings us to the fourth thing that you want to work on when aiming for a promotion, and that is strategically networking. Now, if you're anything like me, an introvert, and you're not a big fan of networking and the idea of schmoozing with large groups of people really doesn't appeal to you, don't worry, that's not what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about is going out and making connections with key people in the organization to develop those connections, develop the relationships with people that either will be involved in the decision making for your promotion or will be useful in building understanding about the larger organization as a whole. So beyond your manager, you want to talk to your manager's manager, you want to talk to your manager's peer level managers, you want to talk to the managers who are upstream from your department works and downstream from whatever work that your department is doing. And you want to ask them similar questions. What is the scope of their work? What do they look for when they're considering somebody for promotion? And what advice do they have for you as you advance your own career? The final thing that management is looking for when considering somebody for promotion is their communication skills. Because your ability to communicate ideas, influence the discussion, and move an agenda forward are critical skills in leadership. But often, leaders communicate in a very specific way. Sure, you can provide all the information in the world, but the goal is to provide information that helps make a decision, helps clarify where the organization needs to go next, and to illustrate where do you think the organization needs to go next. Have an opinion, point out a direction, have your own thoughts as to what the outcome should be. You need to demonstrate that you have a broader idea about the company, you have a vested interest in making sure the business does well. And that's what they're looking for. Those are the 5 things that management is looking for when they're considering people for promotion. And if you're not sure whether or not you are being seriously considered for a promotion, then I've created an assessment to help you with that. The link is in below. This assessment is designed to give you an idea of where you need to work on your skills and what steps you can take today to help you start moving your career forward and start getting recognized as somebody who is ready for promotion. So give that assessment a try. And until next time, let's get back to work.